Up with a result that may surprise you. Switzerland is #1 in the world for tourism. Now, admittedly, this is not a rating of the sheer number of tourists visiting the country. The survey was looking at each country's competitiveness in travel and tourism. In other words, how well they're geared up for visitors. On that basis, Switzerland comes top, with high scores on measures such as safety, hygiene, good environmental regulations, and a highly trained workforce. Austria and Germany are ranked second and third, respectively, and Iceland takes fourth place. The US makes it into the top 5. Its natural and cultural resources and its excellent tourism infrastructure are all part of that high finish. Well, to tell us more about the report, Jennifer Blanky joins me now. She's senior economist at the World Economic Forum, which has been doing the research called the Travel and Tourism Competitiveness Report. Jennifer, welcome to Business International. This isn't a beauty contest, though, is it? It wasn't about the nicest place to visit. Not
at all. Actually, what we're looking at is all of the factors and policies that make it attractive to develop the travel and tourism sector in different countries around the world.
So what's the report for? I mean, who's going to find it useful?
Well, basically, we think that it'll be useful for two purposes. First of all, it's meant to provide useful comparative information across 124 different economies to the business community, so the industry. But perhaps more importantly, what we're hoping is that it will be used as a platform for dialogue, in fact, between the business community and policymakers in order to look at the obstacles for developing the travel and tourism sector.
And this is the first time that this survey has been compiled, isn't it? Why hasn't anyone done anything like this before?
In fact, there have been things done in the past, but they were sort of piecemeal and not yet as comprehensive as this study. I think that it's because we're the World Economic Forum, that my organization is able to pull together a lot of the leaders in the industry, that we've been able to get so many people around the table to sort of give their top thinking into the project, and that's why we've been able to get something that everybody sort of agrees upon.
So let's take a look at the report. Why did Switzerland come out top?
Switzerland has a lot of attributes. First of all, it has excellent cultural and natural resources. It has many World Heritage sites, for example, as well as protected land area, reinforced by the fact that it has excellent environmental legislation, which is making sure that the sector is being developed in a sustainable way going forward. Add to this the fact that it has excellent transport and tourism infrastructure, air transport, ground transport, hotels, things of that nature. And finally, and for an industrialized country, something quite interesting, the government of Switzerland is prioritizing the sector quite strongly, putting a lot of resources into it, and all of this comes together to make Switzerland a very attractive place to develop the travel and tourism sector.
There are a lot of reasons for going somewhere as beautiful as Switzerland on vacation, but Iceland isn't exactly high on many people's lists of must-see destinations. How come it's up there in the top 4?
Well, actually, Iceland, you'd be surprised. We were a bit surprised about the ranking at first, and then we took a closer look at it. Again, in terms of natural and cultural resources, very strong. It attracts a lot of people in terms of coming to see the beautiful landscapes. I think there's a big spa culture actually going on there as well. But again, Iceland has excellent environmental legislation, which is ensuring that the sector is being developed sustainably, an excellent policy environment, which is ensuring that financing is available for the sector, for example, and things of that nature. So it's not, again, just looking at the top destinations. It's really looking at the overall environment.
So who's down at the lower end of the list, and what is it about being at the lower end of the list? Does that mean that they have a lot of work to do, or are there incentives involved in moving up the list?
I think what we see is that the countries at the top of the list are showing sort of the goal. Countries at the bottom of the list tend to be more developing countries. These are countries, obviously, that are endowed with weaker infrastructure environments, for example, even human resources, so available, people to work in the sector. But what we're seeing, and I think this is the message, is that if these countries, given their in many cases very strong natural endowments in Africa, for example, Latin America, if they could basically attack some of these problems and put the investments in that are necessary, there's no reason to believe that they couldn't be a very important force in international tourism going into the future.
All right, Jennifer, great to talk to you. Thanks for being with us on Business International. Let's take a look at what the weather's doing.